Reality is merely an illusion, albeit a very persistent one. Albert Einstein. This video reached you because your path crossed a shift you were never meant to see. What if knowing it instantly rewrites how you see your choices, your struggles, and your future? Stay with me, because everything is about to change. Have you ever stumbled across something you weren't supposed to find? An old letter, a hidden key, or even a secret someone meant to keep from you? The first reaction is always shock. It feels unsettling yet strangely exciting, as though you've been trusted with a truth too big for ordinary eyes. That's exactly what happens with a hidden quantum shift. It isn't broadcasted loudly. It isn't designed for everyone. In fact, it wasn't meant for you at all. And yet, here you are hearing about it. The idea of something not meant for you can sound intimidating, but it's really about timing. Imagine a door locked until the right moment. Most people walk past it without ever noticing. But one day, without warning, the lock clicks open while you're standing right there. You weren't supposed to have the key, but somehow, the door opens in your presence. That's what this quantum shift is, an unplanned invitation into a deeper reality. It shocks you because it disrupts the illusion that life is random. Suddenly, you see that everything, your emotions, choices, relationships, was leading you here, even when you didn't realize it. This shock can also feel like a test. The universe doesn't throw such awareness into just anyone's path. You might wonder, why me, why now? That very question is the beginning of transformation. By receiving knowledge that was intended for you, you've been given an extraordinary responsibility, the chance to use it for growth. Some people dismiss it, telling themselves it's coincidence. Others feel fear, thinking they aren't ready for such awareness. But those who lean into the shock and choose curiosity over doubt begin to see reality bending in their favor. Think of it like finding yourself backstage at a theater production. Everyone else is still seated in the audience, watching the play, but you've been pulled behind the curtain. You can see the mechanics, the actors, the hidden cues. At first, it feels overwhelming. You weren't prepared to know all this, but soon you realize it empowers you. Knowing what's really happening gives you an entirely new perspective on the story. The real gift of this shock is how quickly it transforms your mindset. You stop living as a passive observer of your own life and start becoming an active participant. The hidden shift wasn't meant for you, but by noticing it, you've proven you're ready to handle it. It's like life whispered a secret in your ear and waited to see how you'd respond. And here's the truth, you're not here by mistake. If the shift found you, it's because you were strong enough, aware enough, and open enough to receive it. That shock isn't just disruption, it's destiny calling your name. One of the first signs that you've been touched by a hidden quantum shift is the sudden appearance of synchronicities, those uncanny coincidences that feel too precise to be random. You glance at the clock and it's always 11:11. A song plays on the radio that perfectly mirrors the thought you just had. You think of someone you haven't spoken to in years, and a message from them appears on your phone within hours. These are not accidents. They are breadcrumbs leading you through the unseen map of your new reality. What makes synchronicities so powerful is the way they collapse the illusion of separation. Normally, we're trained to believe events are disconnected. Your thoughts belong to you, while the outside world operates independently. But synchronicities remind you that everything is woven into the same fabric. The quantum shift blurs the boundary between your inner world and the outer environment, showing you that both respond to the same hidden rhythm. When this hidden shift begins to ripple through your life, these synchronicities intensify. They aren't just random flashes of coincidence, they become signposts. Imagine walking through a forest and finding markers carved into the trees, guiding you toward a destination you didn't know existed. That's how synchronicities operate. They are proof that your path is being arranged in real time, even when you can't see the whole picture. The mistake most people make is brushing them off. Oh, it's just chance, they say, but if you pay attention, you'll notice the synchronicities are tailored to you. Someone else might not even recognize their significance, but for you, they hit with precision. That's how the hidden shift communicates. It speaks in your personal language, through numbers, symbols, conversations, or repeating experiences that only you can interpret. Consider this: when you notice a synchronicity, your awareness amplifies it. The more you acknowledge the pattern, the more patterns begin to appear. This isn't superstition, it's quantum attention at work. What you observe becomes magnified. What you dismiss dissolves. That's why the shift was meant for you originally. It's only those who notice the signs who can participate in the new alignment. Synchronicities also serve as a mirror, reflecting your state of alignment. If you're resisting the shift, you may notice confusing or frustrating patterns repeating until you pay attention. But if you're flowing with it, synchronicities feel like little nudges of encouragement, whispering, "Yes, keep going, you're on the right path." The true beauty of synchronicities is how they make you feel less alone. They're proof that something larger than you is paying attention, arranging encounters and signals at the exact moment you need them. And once you begin to see life in this way, reality itself changes. What once looked like chaos begins to look like choreography. What once felt meaningless suddenly feels intentional. That's when you realize synchronicities aren't just signs of a hidden shift. They are the shift, manifesting in real time, showing you that destiny and free will are dancing together in every step you take. At the heart of every hidden quantum shift lies one of the most fascinating principles in science and spirituality, the observer effect. In physics, it describes how the simple act of observing a particle changes its behavior. Something as small as light or an electron will act one way when unobserved, and completely differently once it is watched. That's mind-bending enough on its own, but when you apply this idea to life, it becomes revolutionary. Think about it, your awareness is not passive. It doesn't just record reality like a camera. Instead, it influences what reality becomes. The moment you notice the hidden quantum shift, you're not just watching it, you're participating in it, reshaping its outcome. That's why awareness itself is the most powerful tool you have. Take relationships, for example. A friend who always dismisses you suddenly acts differently when you shift your awareness and refuse to see yourself as unworthy. Opportunities you never noticed before seem to appear as soon as you focus on them. Even your moods respond. When you pay attention to gratitude, you start to see more things to be grateful for. This isn't magic. It's the observer effect playing out in everyday life. The hidden shift wasn't meant for you at first because most people live unconsciously, running on autopilot. Without awareness, they drift through repeated cycles, never questioning why events keep happening the same way. But the moment you see the pattern, the cycle breaks. You've changed the script simply by recognizing it. That's the power of being an observer. Reality bends toward the direction of your focus. Here's an example. Imagine walking into a crowded room. If you focus on feeling invisible, you'll notice every interaction that proves you right. People not making eye contact, conversations happening without you. But if you focus on being magnetic and approachable, you'll suddenly notice smiles, open body language, and invitations. Did the room change? Not really. What changed was the energy you projected and the way reality mirrored it back to you. That is the observer effect in action. And this is why knowing about the hidden shift changes everything instantly. Awareness acts like a switch. Before, you were unconsciously part of the story. Now you're consciously shaping it. The shift may not have been meant for you, but by noticing it, you've stepped into the role of co-creator. You're no longer reacting to life, you're influencing it at the quantum level. This is also why attention is sacred. Whatever you feed your focus grows stronger. Doubt grows when you obsess over it. Hope expands when you nurture it. The hidden shift invites you to stop being a passive observer of your circumstances and start being an intentional director of them. And once you understand that your awareness itself carries this kind of creative force, you realize the shift isn't something happening outside of you. It's something happening through you, every single moment you choose where to look. If you've ever tuned an old radio, you know the static that crackles when you're not on the right station. The music is there, but you can't hear it clearly until the dial locks onto the right frequency. Reality works the same way. A hidden quantum shift can be pulsing all around you, yet most people miss it, not because it isn't real, but because their frequency isn't aligned to receive it. Frequency misalignment happens when your inner state doesn't match the vibration of the shift. Think about days when you're overwhelmed with stress or drowning in doubt. Even if opportunities are knocking, you can't hear them. The signals are drowned out by inner noise. On the other hand, when you're calm, present, and open, you notice details others overlook. The subtle synchronicities, the gut feelings, the unexpected nudges that guide you forward. Many people miss life-changing alignments because they're distracted. They're scrolling endlessly, comparing themselves, numbing their intuition. A hidden shift can be right in front of them, and they'll walk past it like it never existed. It's not because they're unlucky, it's because their frequency is mismatched. The tragedy of misalignment is that it blinds you to what's already available. But here, the empowering part: frequency isn't fixed. You can retune yourself at any moment. Alignment begins with awareness. Ask yourself, where is my attention right now? What energy am I feeding? If your mind is consumed by fear, your frequency reflects fear. If your heart is anchored in gratitude, your frequency reflects abundance. The choice to shift is always in your hands, and small adjustments can bring you closer to clarity. Let's use a simple analogy. Picture two people standing in the rain. One curses the storm, focusing on being soaked and miserable. The other looks up and notices the rainbow forming on the horizon. Both are experiencing the same external reality, but their frequencies interpret it differently. One sees a burden, the other sees beauty. That's what alignment does. It changes what reality reveals to you. Frequency misalignment is also why the hidden shift was meant for you in the first place. The universe usually reveals deeper truths only when someone is tuned to receive them. Yet the very fact that you're even hearing this message means you've already moved closer to alignment. You've paused the noise long enough to notice the static clearing. That's not chance. That's a sign you're adjusting the dial. The gift of knowing about misalignment is that you stop blaming external circumstances and start taking responsibility for your energy. You realize reality is cooperative. It mirrors back what you broadcast. And once you understand that, you'll never look at missed opportunities or bad timing the same way again. You'll see them for what they are: reminders to retune, to shift your frequency, and to align with the signals that were always waiting for you. Sometimes life doesn't shout, it whispers. It nudges you with feelings that don't quite make sense at first. A sudden urge to call someone, a random thought telling you to take a different route home, a book that falls from a shelf at the exact moment you needed its message. These are not coincidences, they are energetic invitations, subtle doorways into the hidden quantum shift. An energetic invitation feels like curiosity pulling at your sleeve. It doesn't come with a loud announcement, but with quiet insistence: pay attention. The problem is, most people ignore these whispers because they seem too small or too irrational. They expect breakthroughs to come with fireworks. But in reality, the universe often uses the smallest gestures to guide us to the biggest transformations. Think about a moment when you felt inexplicably drawn to something: a conversation with a stranger, an article you stumbled across, a sudden inner knowing that you couldn't explain. Later, you realized it set off a chain reaction that changed your direction completely. That's how energetic invitations work. They don't demand, they invite. And accepting the invitation often requires trust, because logic can't always explain why you feel the pull. When you resist these invitations, life tends to send stronger signals. A gentle nudge might become a repeated pattern, and if ignored long enough, it can escalate into a crisis meant to wake you up. This is why paying attention early is powerful. It saves you from harsher lessons down the line. The hidden quantum shift often begins with a soft knock before it sends the earthquake. Energetic invitations also carry a sense of timing. They arrive when you are ready. Even if you don't feel ready, a person may appear in your life to challenge or inspire you. An opportunity may look insignificant, but accepting it unlocks a door you couldn't have seen otherwise. The invitation is rarely about the surface, it's about the alignment underneath. Here's a simple analogy. Imagine a friend inviting you to a gathering. At first, you're hesitant, it seems unimportant, but when you show up, you meet someone who changes your career or your perspective forever. The gathering wasn't the point, the invitation was. Similarly, the universe sends invitations wrapped in ordinary moments. What you choose to do with them determines the path you step into. The key to recognizing these invitations is presence. When you live distracted, you miss the subtle signs, but when you slow down, you begin to sense which feelings carry weight. That's when the shift reveals itself through your intuition, your dreams, or those random urges that are anything but random. Energetic invitations are proof that you're in conversation with the universe. They say, this wasn't meant for you, but now that you're aware, you've been chosen to respond. The choice is always yours. Ignore the whisper and remain where you are, or accept the invitation and step into the shift waiting on the other side. Have you ever wondered how one small decision could completely change the course of your life? Say you miss a bus and end up meeting someone at the stop who later becomes your closest friend. Or maybe you turn down a job offer only to realize years later it would have taken you in a completely different direction. These moments aren't just chance. They are glimpses of parallel timelines, alternative versions of reality running side by side, waiting for you to choose. A hidden quantum shift often reveals itself through these parallel pathways. Think of reality as a branching tree. Every decision, big or small, extends into a new branch. Most people stay on one main track, never realizing how many other branches they could have stepped onto. But the moment you become aware of the hidden shift, it's as if you suddenly see more of the tree. You realize you're not confined to a single path. You're standing at a crossroads with doors you never noticed before. This is where awareness becomes powerful. When you don't know other timelines exist, you act out of habit. But when you realize there are multiple versions of your future waiting, every choice becomes meaningful. The shift wasn't meant for you originally because it exposes something most people aren't prepared to handle: the truth that destiny isn't rigid. It bends. It rewrites itself the moment you choose differently. Imagine your life like a train journey. Most people sit in their seat assuming the track is fixed, but the hidden shift shows you the switches, the levers that redirect the train. A conversation, a thought, a brave decision, these become the switches that shift you onto a new track. At first, the scenery looks the same, but eventually you notice everything has changed. That's the essence of parallel timelines, small choices steering toward entirely new realities. The shock of this realization can feel overwhelming. You might wonder, what if I've been on the wrong path all along? But here's the encouraging truth: there is no wasted path. Every choice teaches you, prepares you, and shapes who you are. The hidden shift doesn't shame you for where you've been. It simply hands you the awareness that you can choose differently now. Practical example: maybe you've been replaying cycles of toxic relationships. The hidden shift allows you to notice the moment you're about to repeat the same choice again. Instead of stepping into the old timeline, you step aside into a new one where you set boundaries, choose self-worth, and open yourself to healthier love. That single choice places you in a parallel future that would have remained invisible otherwise. Parallel timelines remind us that fate isn't a prison, it's a playground of possibilities. The hidden shift wasn't meant for you because once you see the branches, you can no longer pretend you don't have a choice. And that awareness is powerful. It's the difference between drifting through life unconsciously and consciously stepping into the timeline where your best future waits. When a hidden quantum shift arrives, it rarely feels comfortable at first. Change has a way of stirring up resistance. You might feel the urge to fight it, deny it, or cling to the familiar, even when something inside you knows it's time to let go. Resistance is natural. It's the mind's attempt to protect you from the unknown. But it can also be the very thing that keeps you stuck when the universe is trying to move you forward. Resistance shows up in many forms: procrastination, self-doubt, clinging to old habits, or even blaming circumstances instead of recognizing your own power. It whispers things like, "This is too risky," or "You're not ready." And while those thoughts may feel protective, they're often fear wearing a mask of logic. The danger of resistance is that it keeps you circling the same cycles, replaying the same timelines, never stepping into the new frequency the shift is offering. On the other hand, flow feels very different. Flow is what happens when you stop fighting the current and allow yourself to be carried by it. Imagine standing in a river. Resistance is thrashing against the water, exhausting yourself as you try to swim upstream. Flow is releasing the struggle, trusting the current to guide you downstream to places you could never reach by force. That surrender doesn't mean passivity. It means aligning your actions with the rhythm that's already unfolding. The hidden quantum shift invites you into flow because flow is where transformation happens. It's where synchronicities appear more frequently, where opportunities line up, and where clarity replaces confusion. Flow feels like doors opening effortlessly, while resistance feels like banging your head against a wall. Both are choices you make with your energy. Think of the times in your life when things seem to just click. Maybe you met the right person at the right time, or an opportunity unfolded without you forcing it. That's flow. Now think of times when everything felt heavy, delayed, or blocked, no matter how hard you pushed. That's resistance. The hidden shift amplifies these experiences, showing you exactly where you're resisting and where you're flowing. Here's the empowering part. You don't have to eliminate resistance overnight. Even noticing it is progress. Awareness is what allows you to choose differently. The next time you feel yourself hesitating or overthinking, ask, am I resisting out of fear, or can I trust the flow? That single question can shift you back into alignment. The universe isn't asking you to force the hidden shift into existence. It's already here. What it's asking is that you release the grip, stop thrashing against the current, and let yourself be carried toward the reality that's waiting. Resistance drains you, flow frees you, and once you taste the freedom of flowing with the shift, you'll wonder why you spent so long fighting against the tide. Your body is more intelligent than you often give it credit for. Long before your mind catches up, your body knows when something is shifting in your reality. When a hidden quantum shift unfolds, it doesn't just touch your thoughts, it resonates through your physical being. The body becomes the messenger, sending signals you can't ignore. Have you noticed sudden fatigue when nothing has physically drained you? Or nights filled with restless dreams that feel too vivid to be random? Maybe you experience a surge of energy that comes out of nowhere, as though your body is charged by an invisible current. These aren't accidents, they're physical reflections of unseen changes in your energy field. The nervous system is particularly sensitive to quantum shifts. Because it regulates both safety and awareness, it responds to new frequencies like an antenna picking up signals. That's why you might feel jittery, restless, or even strangely emotional when a shift is near. It's not weakness, it's your body recalibrating to a higher alignment. Another common sign is pressure in specific areas of the body. Some feel tightness in the chest, signaling the heart opening to new awareness. Others feel headaches or tingling around the forehead, as if the mind is being rewired to perceive differently. These sensations aren't always comfortable, but they are temporary. They're your system adjusting to a vibration it wasn't operating on before. The key is to listen instead of dismissing these signals. Too often, people brush them off as random discomforts, or worse, they suppress them by numbing out with distractions. But when you honor the body's signals, you realize it's guiding you. Fatigue might be urging you to rest so integration can happen. Restlessness might be pushing you toward change instead of stagnation. Even digestive issues or shifts in appetite can reflect how your system processes new energy. Here's a practical perspective. Think of your body as your personal compass. A compass doesn't shout or argue, it quietly points north. Your body does the same. When aligned, you feel lighter, calmer, and more energized. When misaligned, your body grows heavy, tense, or drained. Paying attention to these cues is like learning to read the compass. You always know when you're moving toward or away from your true path. Most importantly, your body is proof that the hidden shift isn't just out there in the cosmos, it's happening inside you. Awareness may start in the mind, but the body anchors it into lived reality. This is how the invisible becomes visible. The aches, the surges of energy, the dreams, the goosebumps, all of them are signals that your body has already tuned into the shift, even before your conscious mind fully accepts it. The next time you feel something unusual, pause before brushing it off. Ask yourself, what is my body trying to tell me about the changes unfolding? Chances are the signal is simple. You are not imagining the shift, you are embodying it. When a hidden quantum shift begins to ripple through your life, you rarely go through it alone. Even if it feels like you're navigating uncharted waters, there are always subtle forces guiding you. These hidden guides may not walk beside you in the physical sense, but they make their presence felt through intuition, dreams, synchronicities, and inner whispers that arrive at just the right time. Guides can take many forms depending on your perspective. For some, they are ancestors watching over you, ensuring you don't repeat the mistakes of the past. For others, they appear as angels, spiritual guardians, or even the higher self, the wiser part of you that already knows where you're headed. The names don't matter as much as the role they play to gently steer you back toward alignment when you're about to lose your way. Dreams are one of the clearest ways hidden guides communicate. You may wake up from a dream that feels more like a message than a random story, symbols that repeat, people who appear with advice, or experiences that leave a lingering feeling of urgency. Dreams bypass the logical mind and deliver insights directly to your subconscious, planting seeds you may only recognize later. Another form of guidance is intuition, that quiet voice that nudges you when something feels right or wrong. It rarely argues or explains, it simply gives you a feeling that pulls you in a direction. Too often, people dismiss intuition because it doesn't follow rational logic. Yet the hidden shift works through intuition because it's faster and more direct than reasoning. If you've ever avoided a bad situation by trusting your gut, you've already experienced the work of hidden guides. Synchronicities, too, are a language of guidance. A book may fall open to the exact page you needed to read. A stranger might say something that answers a question you never spoke aloud. These are not coincidences, they are carefully placed reminders that you are being supported. The hidden shift amplifies this guidance, making it harder to ignore once you've begun to notice. The presence of hidden guides also explains why the shift was meant for you in the traditional sense. Sometimes, knowledge arrives earlier than expected because guides intervened. They pushed you onto this path because you were ready, even if you didn't think so. Their role is not to control your choices, but to remind you of them, nudging you toward doors you may have otherwise walked past. The key is to trust without needing every answer up front. When you sense guidance, whether in a dream, a whisper, or a synchronicity, don't dismiss it. Act on it, even if only in small ways. You'll find that the more you honor the guidance, the clearer it becomes. Hidden guides are proof that you are not wandering blindly. The shift may be overwhelming, but you are not abandoned in it. Someone or something is already helping you walk through the unfamiliar terrain. And when you recognize that support, you begin to realize the truth. The shift didn't just choose you, the guides did too. The phrase, "this shift wasn't meant for you," might sound unsettling at first, almost like you've stumbled into something forbidden. But in reality, it's not about exclusion, it's about timing and readiness. The universe often withholds certain truths until it knows you can carry them. Some doors stay locked until your awareness vibrates at the right frequency. And yet, here you are, facing the door that wasn't supposed to open for you. That tells you something powerful. Whether or not it was meant for you originally, you've been chosen by awareness itself. Why wasn't it meant for you? Because most people live within structures designed to keep them comfortable, predictable, and safe. Quantum shifts disrupt all of that. They shake your patterns, challenge your beliefs, and force you to question the very nature of your life. That level of awareness isn't easy to handle. It can overwhelm those who are unprepared. So the universe tends to reserve these hidden shifts for those who are ready, or at least strong enough to grow into readiness once the door opens. It's a paradox. What wasn't meant for you may turn out to be the most important knowledge you'll ever receive. Think about stories where ordinary people accidentally overhear secrets of kings, or where someone stumbles upon a map to hidden treasure. They weren't supposed to know, but once they did, their lives changed forever. That's how this hidden shift works. The very fact that you've become aware of it means the timing has caught up to you, even if the plan said otherwise. This also means you carry a responsibility. Once you see the truth, you can't unsee it. You can't go back to pretending life is just random events. With knowledge comes choice. You can ignore it and return to the old patterns, or you can accept it and allow the shift to remake you. Either way, you've been entrusted with a perspective that many never receive. There's also another layer here. Sometimes the universe tests us by giving us what we weren't supposed to have yet. It's like being handed an advanced lesson before completing the beginner's course. The test is simple. Will you panic and resist, or will you rise to the challenge and prove you're ready? In this sense, the shift not being meant for you was never punishment, it was preparation. And here's the empowering truth. If this hidden quantum shift found you, it's because on some level, you were always meant to receive it. Maybe not by design, maybe not by the usual timeline, but destiny has a way of rewriting itself around those who are paying attention. You've been given a glimpse of something others may never see. And though it wasn't meant for you, the fact that you're here means it's yours to use, to grow with, and to transform your life instantly. Some changes take years of effort, discipline, and repetition, but others happen in a single moment, the exact second your perspective shifts. That's the power of awareness. Once you know something, you can't unknow it. Once you see a pattern, you can't pretend it isn't there. And when it comes to a hidden quantum shift, the act of realizing it exists is enough to change you instantly. Think of it like a light switch in a dark room. You might have stumbled around for years, bumping into furniture, feeling your way through shadows. Then, in a single second, someone flips the switch. The room hasn't changed, the furniture is still in the same place, but now you can see clearly. That one moment of illumination transforms how you move, how you think, and how you act. Awareness doesn't rearrange reality, it rearranges you within it. This is why people who step into a hidden quantum shift often describe it as sudden clarity. They may not have all the answers yet, but something inside them snaps into place. Old fears lose their grip. Repeated cycles feel easier to break. Even relationships or opportunities that seemed confusing before suddenly make sense. Transformation doesn't creep in slowly, it ignites, because awareness instantly changes the lens through which you view life. Let's take a practical example. Imagine someone trapped in the belief that they are unworthy of love. For years, they choose partners who reflect that belief, replaying cycles of neglect. Then one day, during a shift, they suddenly recognize the pattern. In that very instant, even before they act differently, they are no longer the same person. Why? Because awareness has broken the illusion. The moment they see the truth, the cycle loses its power. That single realization is transformation, because once you know your worth, you cannot genuinely return to not knowing it. Instant transformation also explains why this hidden shift wasn't originally meant for you. The universe often expects change to happen gradually, step by step, lesson by lesson. But when awareness arrives early, it accelerates everything. It catapults you forward, bypassing years of trial and error. What others might take decades to learn, you grasp in a single flash of insight. That can feel overwhelming, but it's also a gift. Of course, instant transformation doesn't mean everything outside changes overnight. Challenges still exist, and not all problems vanish instantly. But the way you relate to them shifts. Instead of reacting blindly, you begin responding consciously. Instead of feeling like a victim of circumstances, you start seeing yourself as a co-creator. That subtle but profound shift is what rewires your reality at the quantum level. The truth is, transformation doesn't always require years of waiting. Sometimes, all it takes is one moment of awareness, one realization that forever alters the way you see yourself and the world. And once that happens, even if the shift wasn't meant for you, it becomes the defining point from which everything else in your life begins to change. Every powerful awakening is followed by a shadow, and in the case of a hidden quantum shift, that shadow is doubt. The moment you begin to recognize the signs, feel the synchronicities, and step into awareness, your mind starts asking, what if I'm making this up? What if none of this is real? This is natural. Doubt is the mind's attempt to protect you from stepping too far outside your comfort zone. It questions because it fears losing control. The shadow of doubt can feel heavy, especially when you're surrounded by people who don't see what you see. Imagine trying to explain your experiences, the sudden synchronicities, the inner knowing, the vivid dreams, to someone who lives strictly by logic. They might dismiss it, mock it, or tell you it's just coincidence. If you're not careful, their skepticism becomes contagious, reinforcing your own uncertainty. But here, the truth, doubt doesn't mean you're wrong. It means you're human. Every breakthrough is tested by disbelief. Even scientists who first proposed quantum theories were ridiculed, only for their ideas to later become the foundation of modern physics. In the same way, your awareness of the shift will be challenged, not to break you, but to strengthen your trust in what you've experienced. Think of doubt as fog. When it rolls in, you can't see the road ahead clearly, and it tempts you to turn back. But if you keep moving, the fog eventually lifts, and you realize the path was solid all along. The shadow of doubt is temporary, persistence is what clears it. One of the most dangerous traps of doubt is confiding in the wrong people. If you share your insights with someone who isn't ready, they can project their fear onto you. That projection can cause you to shrink back, second-guess yourself, or even abandon the shift entirely. This is why discernment is key. Protect your awareness like a fragile seed. It needs the right environment to grow. Share it with those who nurture your vision, not those who tear it down. There are practical ways to navigate doubt. Journaling can anchor your experiences in a way your rational mind can't easily dismiss. Writing down synchronicities, dreams, and intuitive nudges creates a record of proof that becomes undeniable over time. Affirmations, too, are powerful, simple phrases that remind you to trust the process when your mind wavers. Even stillness, moments of prayer, meditation, or quiet reflection can restore your confidence when doubt tries to drown it. Most importantly, remember that doubt is not the opposite of faith, it is the doorway to it. The presence of doubt means you are standing on the edge of transformation, and every time you choose to trust the shift despite your doubts, you strengthen your alignment. The shadow of doubt may whisper, "This wasn't meant for you," but the light of awareness replies, "Yet here you are." And the more you lean into that truth, the less power doubt will ever hold over you. Becoming aware of a hidden quantum shift is powerful, but awareness alone isn't enough. Without grounding it into daily life, the insight can fade like a dream upon waking, vivid in the moment, but gone when you return to routine. Anchoring the shift means transforming fleeting awareness into lasting change, weaving it into how you think, act, and live every single day. The first step in anchoring is to create rituals that reinforce alignment. These don't need to be elaborate. In fact, the simpler the better. It could be starting your morning with stillness, 5 minutes of silence where you consciously tune your mind to gratitude, or ending your day by journaling synchronicities and reflections, reminding yourself of the signs that the shift is real. Small, repeated actions become anchors that keep you tethered to the new awareness, no matter what distractions arise. Anchoring also requires changes in language and thought. Words carry vibration, and the way you speak shapes the way you see reality. Notice if you're still repeating phrases rooted in limitation: "I can't," "I'm unlucky," "nothing ever works out." Replace them with language that reflects your new awareness: "I choose," "I trust," "things are aligning for me." These subtle shifts in speech recalibrate your energy and align your actions with the hidden shift. Another anchor is the environment you create. Just like a plant grows better in fertile soil, your awareness thrives in spaces that nurture it. This may mean surrounding yourself with people who inspire growth rather than drain it. It may mean decluttering your space, because physical chaos often mirrors mental chaos. Even curating what you consume, books, music, conversations, matters, because every input either strengthens or weakens the alignment you've stepped into. Protecting your energy is also essential. Once you've seen the shift, not everyone will understand it, and not everyone should have access to your awareness. Anchoring means setting boundaries, knowing when to say no, when to step back, and when to guard your focus. Think of it as putting a fence around a new garden. The fence doesn't isolate you, it simply ensures that what you're nurturing has the chance to grow strong. Most importantly, anchoring the shift requires consistency. Transformation isn't about one big decision, it's about hundreds of small choices repeated over time. Each time you choose faith over fear, presence over distraction, alignment over resistance, you drive the roots of the shift deeper into your life. And the deeper the roots, the harder it becomes for old patterns to pull you back. Anchoring ensures that the hidden shift doesn't remain a fleeting spark, but becomes a steady flame guiding you forward. It's how you move from temporary inspiration to permanent transformation. Awareness opens the door, but anchoring is what allows you to live inside the new reality it reveals. When you step into a hidden quantum shift, it feels as though the map of your life has been redrawn. What once seemed like a straight road suddenly branches into pathways you never noticed before. This is what I call the new destiny map. It doesn't erase your past, it reinterprets it. It shows you that every twist, every setback, and every moment of doubt was actually preparing you for this awareness. Looking back, you begin to see connections where you once saw chaos. The heartbreak that broke you years ago becomes the very lesson that sharpened your intuition. The missed opportunities that left you disappointed suddenly make sense, because they cleared space for doors you weren't ready to walk through until now. The new destiny map reframes your past, turning pain into preparation and mistakes into stepping stones. Looking forward, this map reveals possibilities you couldn't see before. With awareness of the shift, you begin to sense where alignment is calling you. Maybe it's a new career path, a relationship that feels more authentic, or a lifestyle that supports your growth. The map doesn't lay out every detail, but it provides direction. It whispers, "Go this way, not that way," and as you follow, more of the path unfolds beneath your feet. The new destiny map also changes how you make decisions. In the past, you may have chosen out of fear, habit, or pressure. Now you begin choosing out of alignment. Instead of asking what's safe, you ask what feels true. Instead of wondering what will others think, you ask What resonates with the shift I'm living in now? These subtle but profound shifts in decision-making redraw your future, step by step. There's also responsibility here. With the new destiny map comes the awareness that you're no longer just drifting through life, you're co-authoring it. You're not simply waiting for fate to happen, you're in active partnership with it. That's both liberating and humbling. It means every choice you make carries weight, and every step you take shapes the timeline you walk into. And yet, the most empowering part of the new destiny map is its reassurance. You are exactly where you're meant to be. Even though the shift wasn't originally meant for you, the very fact that you've seen it means it has become yours. Destiny has redrawn itself around your awareness. The path ahead may still hold challenges, but now you walk it with clarity, strength, and guidance that you didn't have before. This is the gift of the hidden shift. It doesn't just change your perspective, it changes your map. And once you carry this new map within you, you realize something profound. Your future isn't something you stumble into. It's something you choose, moment by moment, guided by the awareness that has already transformed everything.